In this week's episode on Front Row on Economy.lk, we look at a sector which has an impact on most people. If you look at the consumers, if you look at the businesses, and the ecosystem is just growing and expanding. To talk a bit or to talk a lot about this sector and to get a more perspective from the region, we have with us Mr. Komsan, who is the Vice President of the Thai Retailers Association, to provide his perspective on what's going on in Thailand in terms of the retail. Pleasure to have you here.
Yes, thank you.
If you look at it from a B2C perspective, I think Thailand, some of the numbers just looked at, is one of the leaders within the region.
Yes.
And in particular, B2C e-commerce.
Yeah.
What has been the reason for this success?
I think the reason is I think the globalization is coming to place. We have Alibaba, we have JD.com. They have many key players going to Thailand, even though the domestic or local, the provider also. And I think globalization is one of the reasons. And I think the generation also playing part of it, like new millennial people. So they have less time, so they prefer to, stay home and then, shop around, I think that's.
And is that trend, do you think, going to widen further, or
I think
are some of the brick and mortar stores going to be able to compete within this?
Online will be getting bigger, but then it's not just online, because online can offer you certain things, but not everything. I think brick and mortar can compete their omnichannel. They can, look around, they can study the product, but in itself, another way they want to be a status seeker also. They want to get into the, society. They want to get in their social life, not just online. They can meet you. We can, have a friend to have a dinner and then have a conversation.
Right. And if you look at the retail industry, the pace of technology and innovation has had an impact on the retail landscape. How particularly has the Thailand retailers adapted to this? And maybe what can be some of the shortcomings, failings that Sri Lanka can maybe not do in its adoption, and maybe what are some of the successes?
I think, as I said, the first thing, the globalization. So being the expertise to Thailand. So we have Jack Ma going to Bangkok. We have JD.com, top management going to Bangkok. Collaboration is bringing the technology into the Thailand, and hopefully we bring to the Sri Lanka also, that technology stuff.
Right. And if you look at some of the reports that is out there, they almost class the middle class to be the next engine of consumer to dominate in terms of purchasing, and that is also supposed to concentrate around Southeast Asia.
Yeah.
In that aspect, do you think Thailand is in the front seat to sort of maybe be a driver of this, or how do you think this will pan out? Is that a view that the Thailand Retail Association also feel?
I think in that perspective, if you look into the figure of tourism, so Bangkok is one of the top 5 in the world. That's proof people around the world go visit Bangkok, and some of the palace, the museum, the temple. I think all of that make Thailand more attractive on the retail. And then also our strategy, the more group. So we plan to have 2 more projects that we join partner with AEG Group, and then we'll do like a shopping mall with the arena concept, which can hold a concert like a Beyonce, Katy Perry, and stuff like that, and can pull a lot of people from Southeast Asia to Thailand.
So it's more of an experiential.
We go to different direction. I mean, if we follow the footprint of the Center Group or CP, so the retail won't be any different. So we want to choose the different path, go to the different direction, but more on the customer experience side.
Right. And this rising consumer in Asia, Is a lot of them, sitting in Thailand, or with the tourism retail nexus, do you think that will just be the key catalyst?
I think all retail in Asia still have a room to go, and tourism is to be part of the retail expansion and to be a center of Southeast Asia and draw many people to Thailand is the key.
So there you heard it from Komsan, who is part of the Thailand Retail Association, talking about some of the e-commerce companies that have set up, some of the key names that we've heard of, like Alibaba, and saying how things are just going to continue from this point of view. And also innovation has been part and parcel of the whole game. That's expected to continue. And what's key is, even for countries like Sri Lanka, is the rise of the Asian consumer, in particular in the middle class, and what Thailand is moving towards, and maybe some of the things that we can also learn about. So thank you so much, Komsan, for being on this episode of Economy.lk.
Yep.
And to our viewers, stay tuned for future insightful videos like this, where we tackle various issues on the economy.